Hi, everybody. This is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto. You know the deal with the low carbs, the total carbs, never net, and everything else. And today is Tuesday with a turtle. Huh. So, what we have here today is Melanie, and Melanie is going to tell us her story. Now, Melanie has just been working, I don't know, what, the last 20 days or something like that. And so I feel really special for me and all of you listening that she wanted to do an interview today, her first day of getting a couple of breaths. You'd think she'd have some laundry to do or something.
I do.
So anyway, welcome, Melanie, and the floor is yours, as we would say in Boston. Hi, Melanie.
Well, I'm honored. I'm honored. Hello, hello. And so I've been watching you, and I do work full time. I also have a YouTube channel, and I'm writing a book. So I'm like super busy. I don't always comment, and I know I should, but I just love your channel, and I love being able to feel like I'm part of a community that understands my journey and my struggle. We all know that when you're not losing weight super fast on keto, everybody's like, well, what are you doing wrong? Are you eating too much protein? Are you eating too many carbs? What time are you eating? Are you fasting? And the list goes on their daily recommendations. And so it's easy to drive yourself absolutely insane. So April is a month for me that I am simplifying my journey. I tend to be over calculating. I tend to get too much in my head. And that 1 gram of carb I went over yesterday has to be the reason why I haven't lost any weight. And I tend to get incredibly obsessed, but I used to be a binge eater, a closet binge eater. So I have to always keep myself in check.
All right, so um, all right, so now I'm going to ask a little bit about like your food plan journey. So you were a binge eater, and in order to get some help and relief from that, what brought you to keto? And then I've got more questions after that, but let's see where that takes us, Melanie.
Okay. So I was a woman size 10 at about age 10. And I won't go chronologically every year. I'm just going to kind of brief you on the past. So starting at age 10, I was obviously very busty. I was full figured and wearing a woman size 10 at age 12, which was very hard for me going through high school like that. I was constantly teased, made fun of. They called me Melly Belly. They would make comments about my butt, comments about my boobs, And so it was a really awkward and difficult time because I was an athlete. So I wasn't full figured because of a lack of exercise. I was captain of the soccer team, and I also played in all-star softball. I was go, go, go. I've been high energy my whole life. Well, after I had children, I started suffering from one bad pap smear after another. This is before they diagnosed PCOS. I had thyroid tumors, constantly cysts on my ovaries, very painful, chronic 30, 40-day periods with 2 or 3 days of spotting and then another 30, 40-day period. I was constantly anemic. They did every procedure, where they cauterized. I was supposed to never be able to have children. They told me I was not going to have children because I had so many fallopian cysts and I had so many infections, chronic infections, that they told me it was scar tissue. So I was really surprised when I got pregnant. After I had children, my weight just started to tick up, tick up, tick up. So starting at around age 24, 25, I went from maintaining 150 to 170, and every year it seemed I would put on 5 to 7 pounds that I just couldn't get off. And then I had to have a hysterectomy at age 27 with my third class 3 pap smear. They finally said, this is enough. You're going to end up with cancer. You're going to end up dying. And they left the ovaries, but they took the uterus. So after that happened, even though I still had my ovaries and ovary function, the weight it was incredible. And so that started my professional career as a dieter. I have I have been on I've been on Atkins. I did do Atkins for 2.5 years. I ended up going from 185 pounds down to 123, but that's when my eating disorder reared its ugly head. That's when I started thinking, well, gosh, if I'm eating 5 carbs and I'm losing a pound a week, what if I eat 0 carbs? I was actually doing carnivore before carnivore had a name. I felt good and I looked good, but because I had body dysmorphia, because I could never see that 123-pound skeleton looking back at me, because I couldn't see how skinny my friends, my family were like, Melanie, are you okay? Are you sick? And when your family starts asking you if you're sick, there's a problem there. But I kept going and trying to get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. And then I dove off the deep end, went off Atkins, gained all the weight back. But I've done Weight Watchers. I have a video about a year ago because I'm coming up on my 1-year keto anniversary called I've Lost My Ninja. I was given the name Princess Ninja. It's a long story, but I was given the name Princess Ninja. And the video is I Lost My Ninja. And I am literally on YouTube bawling because I got one more diagnosis. And I was eating, actually, I had just come off a 90-day vegan. I done raw vegan for 90 days, and I was doing vegetarian at the time of this 4th diagnosis. And my doctor looked at me and said, this is the best you've got. You're never going to get any thinner than this. You are killing yourself trying to be thin, and you are just one of these women who are never going to be thin. And you can see in this video, you can tell it's from my heart. I was destroyed. I'm like, I'm doing everything textbook. I'm following all the rules. I'm watching my fat. I'm working out 5 days a week. I'm hitting the gym an hour every day. I'm sleeping. I'm drinking 74,000 ounces of water. I felt like and I was adamantly against keto because when I heard keto, I thought, Atkins diet. And I was so afraid to go back there because that's where the eating disorder came about. I was so afraid that I would start eating keto and that would trigger those old eating disorders. But that's when I also said, that was the only diet that ever worked for me. The Atkins diet was the only, I did it unhealthy, but it was the only thing that ever helped me lose weight. And I didn't start it doing unhealthy. I started it doing it very healthy and then just took things way to the extreme. So that brought me to keto. And now I am 1 year keto, and I'm doing some more experimenting in the month of April with my keto journey, but I have journaled my entire journey on YouTube. My mistakes, my good, my bad, my ugly. So whew, that was a lot.
And with your permission, we'll put your YouTube channel address below.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So, all right. So, yeah, I guess you qualify. You've been through a lot of the food plans, haven't you?
Yes.
I didn't mean to laugh out loud, but when you said professional dieter, it's like, oh, yeah. I identified with you in so many different places. I was just like you. I developed my body early. And so I became the butt of incredible jokes. And I began my menstruation at 9. And so
yeah, me too.
You too? Yeah?
Yeah, 9 years old in 5th grade.
Yep. For me, it was the summer of going into the 5th grade. And I had all kinds of nicknames too. But this isn't about me. This is about your story. So what I'm curious to hear is how you do a typical day of your keto. Upon awakening, and then fill in the blanks.
Well, it's pretty easy up until this month, which I'm trying a new experiment. I'll get into that in a minute. I have Carb Manager where I log my food. I'm a meal prepper. So Sundays is my big meal prep. I will typically cook a big crock pot meal. I'll typically prep some like luncheon meats and pepperonis with cheeses, and I prep my meals. I only eat 2 meals a day. I do intermittent fasting, 16-8 or 18-6, sometimes longer. The reason that there's not a definite time is because I work out of a vehicle. So I have a job that takes me outside of an office. So sometimes everything that I make, I have to be willing to eat cold. I have no way to heat it up. And I live in Florida, so carrying around a hot thermos with me all day is just not feasible in the summer. So whatever I make, I have to be willing to eat cold. I eat my first meal after checking my blood glucose and ketones. I eat my first meal sometime between 11 and 12 in the afternoon. And then my dinner, I'm very strict. It's usually 4 ounces of a fatty protein, and maybe a vegetable, but I count total carbs. So I try to keep my carbs 15 or under. And this month I'm doing something totally different because I log everything. Now, I just bought a new phone, so they gave me this Gear Sport. It's a Samsung Gear Sport watch. Normally I'm a Fitbit girl, but because I still don't know how to use this, I still don't. Okay, so I'm aging myself. I'm almost 50, right? I'm not the most technical person in the world. So I'm still learning how to use this. My goal before April was 2 miles before work every day, but I was sacrificing sleep to do that. I have tried everything as far as food, as far as changing my macros, as far as fasting, as far as doing everything that they tell you to do to lose weight. And I lose weight very slowly. In 11 months, I've lost 28 pounds. And so I know a lot of your viewers are sympathetic to that. When we look at YouTube and we see these, I spelled the word keto and lost 100 pounds in 6 days, you know. I'm over here like, I'm being so strict. But so for April, I'm changing things up. I'm still fasting. The reason I'm still fasting is because I'm still healing metabolically. I'm a type 2 diabetic, but genetically, I have a very rare type of diabetes. Only 2% of the population. So I basically had diabetes my whole entire life, and I've never known it. The only thing the doctor has ever seen is hypoglycemia. That's because it's called reactive hypoglycemia. It's where my blood sugar will be 90, 90, 90, 90, 40. And I mean, just out of nowhere, within 30 minutes, my blood sugar will just bottom out. And of course, that's a very unpleasant experience. But I've always been a type 2 diabetic, but I haven't been diagnosed until just about 2 years ago. I'm still having problems with regulating my blood sugars. So fasting for me is the best way to take care of that issue. I'm teaching my liver, my pancreas how to work together and find energy in my body without having to consume a carbohydrate.
So when your blood sugar has that drop, do you feel faint, dizzy? What happens?
Yes, I usually have about a 15-minute warning. Like, uh-oh, I need to eat something. I start feeling confused. It's the weirdest symptom ever, but it's called neuropathy. I get neuropathy in the mouth. It feels like somebody has shot me with Novocaine. The tip of my tongue goes completely numb. My lips feel numb. My face feels tingly, like prickly tingly. I will break out in a cold sweat. My hands, of course, traditional symptoms, I'll get shaky. And usually I have about 15, 20 minutes to go get myself something to eat. I have found that being on the keto diet, not wanting to consume carbohydrates, going into the medical side of it. So if I've been fasting for 7, 8, 9 hours, I have depleted the glycogen stores from my cells. The first thing I put in my mouth, I don't want it to be a carbohydrate, right? So I have found that keeping things like nuts, seeds, pumpkin seeds are my favorite. Just taking a handful. We're talking about a quarter of a cup of pumpkin seeds has 3 net carbs, 4 total carbs, but it's a very fibrous seed. I've found that doing things like that, keeping electrolyte powder with me, all of those things can help. Cheese, cream cheeses, nut butters. There is fat bombs that they're called F bombs, and I get them at Amazon, and they have a walnut and macadamia nut butter that's really good. And I just squeeze it up and then eat the nut butter. And it's one carb, but it's got MCT oil in it, and of course, healthy nut fat. So if my sugar starts getting low, I'll do that first. Usually in about 20 to 30 minutes, I'll know if that's going to work. And then I'll go ahead and break my fast. I'm not going to fast at a detriment to myself. I'm only fasting to try to gain the benefits of autophagy. So black coffee is usually all I drink in the morning. No artificial sweeteners, no creamers, nothing like that. On the weekends, I will spoil myself with a bulletproof, though. I do love bulletproof coffee.
I do too. Okay, so when you have your dinner, it's just 4 ounces of meat, nothing else with it?
Sometimes, I mean, but not typically. Typically for my meal, I do just protein and fat. I don't have a gallbladder, so I do, some people, the jury's out, and I'm not a doctor, but I have found that since I do Bragg's unfiltered apple cider vinegar with the mothers in it, and they say that that's really good for people without a gallbladder, especially with a heavy protein and fat, because your body just cannot produce the digestive acids it needs. So I have found that takes care of the bathroom issues. Like before I was doing the apple cider vinegar, I was finding I had chronic constipation no matter what I did. I was doing the magnesium, the calm magnesium. I was doing everything I could. And when I incorporated the 2 tablespoons, so anytime I eat a heavy protein meal, I'll do 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and about 8 ounces of water, maybe squeeze some lemon juice, and that helps with the digestive. But apple cider vinegar also helps regulate blood sugar, or at least I believe it does. I can't cite a study that would show that's conclusive, but I think it does.
Okay. And so what is your relationship with your scale?
That's my month of April. So every night on my channel, I do my little chart board, but this is my April ambitions. I am off the scale right now for the month of April. I do become obsessed with weighing myself. What I have learned, though, there's good and bad. So for instance, last week, my weight was like 193, 193, 193. Then I went 191.2 and then back up to 193. And I kind of feel like had I not weighed myself every day, I would have missed that very low. And because I only lose typically 2 pounds a month, and I know that for me, my weight loss pattern is all drop. And then I'll go up a half a pound, then I'll stay there for, a week or 2, and then I'll drop again. Then I'll tick up. So my biggest fear with the new challenge in April of not weighing myself is that I'm going to miss the drop. But that's where emotionally I have to do some healing. Keto, there's no other option for me. I will be keto the rest of my life, no matter what happens on the scale. But, I'm human, and I want to see progress, and I want to see those numbers go down. But I also do measurements. Last month, I actually gained 1.5 pounds, but I lost 1/2 inch. The previous month, I gained 1 pound, but I lost 2.5 inches. So even though I'm up 1 pound from my lowest weigh-in, I'm 3 inches smaller. So I did a video the other day of me shopping from my own closet and trying on dresses I haven't been able to wear in like 5 years. And now they're out of style, but I'm bringing them back.
What fun.
Yeah.
I have a tip for you. I don't use one, but one of the ladies that I just interviewed for Tuesday with a Turtle has a Fitbit. And what she does, because of the relationship with the scale, is she still weighs herself every day, but she doesn't look at what it says. So the Fitbit has the record of it. So So she could look back for the whole month and see the trends.
Yeah, that's a cool idea because I have a Fitbit Aria.
Yeah.
I have an Aria scale that automatically syncs to my Fitbit account. I never even thought about that.
But she doesn't look at it.
Yeah.
Doesn't look at it.
I had a couple subscribers say they're going to miss my weigh-ins because they feel the same way I do. Like they'll see their weight will stay the same for about 10 to 11 days. Then they'll see a drop and then they'll see it tick right back up again. And it's my body. My body just doesn't understand. I have spent more time destroying my metabolism than I have repairing it. And I just got to give my body some time.
Yeah, that's my favorite phrase, the deranged metabolism. And I think every female in the United States and Canada has one, because look what we've done to ourselves, and we're females. So between all of it with our periods and perimenopause and menopause and having babies, I mean, it's amazing that, we can even think of losing weight. It's just incredible. And I don't know about you, but I absorb every ounce of like liquid there is to absorb.
Yes.
And the summer's worse. Now you're in Florida, so do you have humidity year round, or do you ever get a break?
We get a break between October and February. Okay. That's our break.
So now you're on the build-up again.
Yeah, I live in like northern central Florida, so I'm only about 3 hours from the Georgia line. So we are a little bit cooler, but I'm also inland, so I don't get that sea breeze. So yeah, it gets pretty humid in here. I do have issues with my ankles swelling in the summer months, especially my job is a very physical job. So a lot of times I'll find myself like, for instance, this coming Friday, I'll be working from 7 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, and I'll be standing on my feet most of the day. So by the time I get home, my ankles will be cankles. They'll just be swollen. But I have an adjustable bed, or I have found that if I sleep with my feet propped up on a pillow higher than my heart, the next day water's gone. I have to get up in the middle of the night and go a few times, but
yeah, it's how you deal with it. But so you do have that. Now, how are you with bloat?
I don't really, unless I always know when I eat something, and that's where I journal. I always know when I eat something that doesn't agree with me because I will react with bloating. I don't need to sound too personal, but the gas too. That is the key. Since I started keto, no gas at all. And remember, I came here as a vegetarian. And so I was living on Beano. I was living on Beano, and I tried to make sure I was never in a social situation after I ate certain foods that were supposed to be good for you. But now I actually recognize that bloating and that gas and that stomach discomfort as okay, I'm not supposed to be eating this food, and my body's telling me I'm not supposed to be eating this food. So yeah, I try to stay away from that. And I have, as I'm counting total carbs, I'm going actually more carnivore-ish than, I used to, my first 6 months of keto was trying to find substitutions. And now I've given that up. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to be complicated. And my husband along the way, who also had a serious weight issue and some serious medical issues, he won't go keto because he's not going to give up everything. But I put him on a low carb. I'm teaching him low carb lifestyle, and he's lost 44 pounds since Thanksgiving.
Men.
The rabbit in the hare, right? So we are the rabbit in the hare, and I'll get there eventually.
But that's cool. He's getting an awareness too.
Yeah, he's loving it. He actually tells people, I hear him preaching the gospel. Man, once you give up sugar and you give it up for a couple weeks, it's really, really hard. But then the next time you eat sugar, you're not going to believe how horrible you feel. And you never realized that it was doing that to you. And so he's become like the #1 advocate for sugar is poison. And because I've been telling him the whole time, I'm like, please just do 2 weeks of detox. And I promise you, if you go back to eating it, you're going to hate yourself. So, but he's done really fantastic. But I also have other metabolic issues. I have a chronic arrhythmia in my heart, which also has to do with keto. I'll tell you about that progress. I was born with a bad connection between my brain and my heart. So it has nothing to do with my health. It's nothing to do with anything that I've eaten or clogged arteries. It has nothing to do with me medically. It is a signal issue. It's a neuro issue between my brain and my heart. And so before I had my pacemaker, I spent an incredible amount of time in the hospital with them trying to figure out why I was passing out all over the place. But what they didn't know, remember, is that I had diabetes. But because I had no symptoms of diabetes, they weren't looking for diabetes. The diabetes aggravated. I already had the issue. The diabetes aggravated it. Just before my pacemaker, I was averaging 176 arrhythmias a day. That's where my heart would go into some bizarre rhythm, and I was suffering from lack of oxygen. But I have the pacemaker now, which has corrected 90% of my issues, but I still have issues. On days that my heart doesn't want to beat, I could go out there and run a mile. And it's just, some days my heart won't go above 90 beats a minute, no matter how hard I work, which makes it a struggle because I'm constantly feel like I'm gasping for air. I constantly feel tired, neuropathy in my fingers and stuff because I'm not getting that oxygen to meet my physical demand. But I'm not sitting down. My doctor has told me the day you sit down, you won't get back up. So I try to keep moving, keep mobile, keep motivated, and just understand that, you know, eventually my life is going to look a lot different than it does right now. And keto won't fix this. But so everybody with a pacemaker, if you're wondering, so with an arrhythmia, every 6 months they download all of the information from my pacemaker, and then it clears the memory because this only holds so much memory. And they're able to see exactly what your heart has done for the last 6 months. They can tell every missed beat, every PVC, they can tell everything. And up until I started keto, my pacemaker was pacing my heart between 46 and 55% of the time. So half of the time, my heart was not beating right. I started keto, and 6 months later, I went for a pacemaker check. My pacing, that's the amount of times the pacemaker has to work for my heart, decreased from 46% to 13%. I was blown away. My doctor, my cardiologist was like, he was speechless because this is a doctor. I love my doctor, but he's a doctor that pushes plant-based nutrition. So to know that I was doing keto and to know that I had lost 20 pounds when I stepped on a scale and to see my body has shrunk, and then to see the results with the arrhythmia, it kind of blew his mind. Maybe I'm making him a believer, but so that's one of the issues, one of the obstacles, and something that also makes it a little bit different because my heart wants to stop all the time. If I didn't have a pacemaker, my rested heart rate would be 33 beats per minute. So my pacemaker keeps my heart at 60 beats per minute.
Okay.
So I have a much slower heart rate. I mean, that's okay if you're 23 and you're a marathon runner, but when you're my age and obese, it becomes a big problem.
So can you pick up your April ambitions again so people can see, just for some encouragement?
Okay. Yes. So one of the reasons I came up with this lazy clean, I really despise the fact that you've got YouTubers out there on a keto journey. I don't care what kind of keto journey it is. They're on this keto journey and they're pitting each other against each other. Clean, lazy, dirty, carnivore-ish, carnivore, what's better? It's not about that. It's about what's working for you. If it's working for you, keep doing it. When it stops working, then go to another YouTuber with a different keto journey and say, hey, what are you doing? and then try something. You cannot be afraid to experiment. This is the rest of your life. So I decided to take the month of April to do ambitions for April, because I'm an obsessive food tracker, fitness tracker. I think one of the things that's slowing me down is stress, because I'm constantly, continuously thinking, okay, well, I've had 13 carbs. I can't have any more carbs. So what am I going to do for dinner? And I have found this, that I'm becoming sick in my head, as far as I'm not living. I'm living for the next meal. I'm living for the next meal prep. Oh my gosh, what if I don't make my macros today? And so this is my way of letting go, letting God, and just doing my journey, just doing keto. It's not hard. I'm making it hard myself. So no tracking, more sleep. That doesn't mean I'm giving up fitness. Because of my heart, I have to do cardio. I have to keep my heart muscles strong. That's for my life. That's not an option for me. But I've decided, instead of 6 days a week absolutely killing myself and giving up an hour and a half of sleep, I'm going to simplify this. So no scale, no self-hate, no keto sweets or cheats for the month of April, which means I'm not making fat bombs. I'm not making Lily's chocolate. I'm eating clean, 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 clean. So I'm going to be doing
clean.
Yes. Motivation Mondays, I'm calling it Move It Monday. That's 30 minutes of whatever cardio your heart desires, even if it's putting on headphones and dancing. It's on Wednesdays, I'll be doing waistline and wall sit Wednesdays. I will explore a different waistline exercise every single Wednesday, and we will do wall sits to see how much we can improve our time for the month of April. I have Fitness Freak Fridays, and that's where I will do a different plank every single Friday. And at the end of the month, we'll see how much we improve our plank time. I have Gratitude and Attitudes. I'm spoiled, like most people are, and we forget how fortunate we are just to be alive. I have a pacemaker in my chest that you think would be a reminder to me every day, that every day is a gift. And sometimes I forget that, and I get into my pouty princess brain. Oh, I'm so fat. I'm never going to lose weight. Why can't I lose weight like everybody else? And I'm going to stop that. I'm going to knock it off. I'm going to knock it off, and I'm just going to be grateful for what I have. And I'm just going to show gratitude, have a positive attitude. And then I'm getting ready for my 1-year keto anniversary. So I want to be able to put up some amazing photos. I want to be able to do I have been documenting my journey the whole time. And I just want to be able to put together something really amazing to show people that, you know what, for some people, keto get on it and they drop the weight like crazy. Some people, they get on it and they're just loving the food, and they're loving feeling full, and they're loving not being hungry, and they're okay with losing a pound every once in a while or getting on the scale once a month. But there are people out there like you, like me, like most of your viewers, that are turtles. And our biggest enemy is our own head and comparing our journeys to everyone else's. And so I'm trying to be out there. I don't pretend to be a coach. I don't pretend to give advice that I don't know what I'm talking about. I can only tell you I am almost 50 years old. I'll be 50 years old December 30th. Sorry, that's my dogs. Life's happening here. So I'm going to be 50 years old this year. And I've always used the term fabulous at 50, but now I'm telling you how I'm getting there. How is that working for me, and what am I doing to get there? But I'm also doing some experimentation, because I'm confident enough that I love keto enough. I love the fact that I don't feel hungry and I don't feel like I'm on a diet. I love the fact that I can sit down and eat with my husband, and he loves almost every main dish I make. I love that meal prep is so simple. For this week, I've made a quiche. I made a quiche. I mean, it's real simple. I paired it up with some cream cheese for some fats and a couple pickles. Bam, it's done. It's inexpensive, easy to meal prep. I'm loving the journey. And so I'm feeling confident enough at this point in my journey to start experimenting with things like this, because I want to see, is it stress? Is it stress that's causing me to do this? And how do I de-stress my life?
Great stories, great power of example. I just loved everything you said, and stopping comparing yourself to other people's progress, but identifying with other people's journey, I think is important because, you know, it's intimidating to hear and see people that go, I lost 8 pounds in my first week in keto. It's like, permission to shoot them, please. It's not about that. And after a while, it just, sure, we'd love to, lose just like this on that downward slope, but it's not going to be that way. And so we might as well enjoy the journey. Like you learning, now you've got a new thing to put into your rotation, a quiche, a crustless quiche. Is there anything better than that? And, who doesn't love cream cheese and eggs? And how well that works for you. And, I think when you were talking about how you have to get in and out of your car and you're on the go, first of all, you're not stuck in an office sitting in a chair where people are bringing in, totally non-keto foods, or they're taking out, calling out for food. You're not subjected to that. You've got your little thing. And yeah, granted, you can't have a hot thermos with you, but between the nut butters and the cheese sticks and some of the things that you mentioned, the roll-ups, you're golden through the day. And getting in and out of the car, that's got to be great little sprints for your heart.
Yes. On an average day, when I don't purposefully exercise at work, I get between 4,000 and 6,000 steps, and my calorie burns between 1,700 and 2,000 calories a day. If I add exercise in that, my average calorie burns about 2,500 a day, which is also the reason why right this month I'm not tracking, because calorie in, calorie out when you're on keto and you're in a state of ketosis does not apply. It doesn't apply. My metabolism has slowed down. And I think that I'm incorporating in my head old ideals as far as, you have to eat this many calories a day. And, but I've been watching a lot of Dr. Westman, Dr. Jason Fung. Those are my two favorite doctors to follow. I actually pre-ordered Dr. Westman's book. I got your idea about the, oh my goodness, I've forgotten what they are. I've actually invested. I've become an investor, and it's called crowdfunding. The investment for Dr. Westman's clinic.
That $480 investment?
Yes. So it's a minimum, and it's called crowdfunding. They've opened it up for another 3 months.
Crowdfunding.
Yes.
Okay.
It's called crowdfunding. You might want to look in your messages for spam on your YouTube. Do you know how to do that? Because I sent you the link for it after you did that video when me and you interacted. I sent you a link for it.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I was curious about that much. Go ahead.
So it's called crowdfunding, and worst case scenario, it never takes off. You get some of your money back. Best case scenario at 48 cents a share. 3 years from now, it's worth $10 a share, and we can all be happy campers. But $480 is supporting an amazing cause, an amazing clinic, and some exceptional doctors. So I'm all about that.
Oh, I'm glad you shared that, because people have asked me about it, and I said, you got to Google it to find out, because I don't know.
I'll actually get the link again, and I'll share it in the comments of this video. When you get this posted, I'll share it down in the comments.
Okay. And you will be airing on the 16th of April. So 2 weeks from today.
Okay, thank you.
This has been great. What day is your keto anniversary? Ketoversary.
Well, it would be on May 15th is the day. So May 15th. So what's coming up? But I kind of, instead of trying to do things in the middle of the month, as busy as my life has been, I just moved it to the 1st. It's just easier for me to deal with it that way. But so the technical date is May 15th, but I'll be celebrating that on May 1st.
Yours was a great story, and you certainly gave a lot of people hope today and motivation, and the idea of slowing it down. It's It's getting things right. It's healing from within instead of that instant progress that, so many of us come here seeking because somebody else said it. And especially if you're talking to a man and, it's like, yeah, I've been doing keto and I lost 33 pounds in a month. And I was like, yeah. So you taught us a lot, and it was so great to have you here, Melanie. And I'm going to post your YouTube channel below so they can find that out. And thank you for the crowdfunding. That was great. And yeah, so, I look forward to when I can start doing repeats of people like you. Where are you 90 days from now? I think that's sort of fun too, because people like to know how you're doing and what's changed, because a lot of us change things as we go. Like you said right now that you feel your metabolism is slowed. And so what do we do to get it going, besides the regular aging, slowing part, on your keto journey? What can you do that's different, or maybe not at all? Maybe you're just happy going along the way that you are, and, pound or two a month works, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would work for me. It does work for me. Well,
as long as it's not going the other direction, I'm
no,
good.
I know. No, nothing going up. Nope. So much. I'm going to say goodbye to our viewers, and then it's going to be just you and me again. So thank you, Melanie, so much. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in to another great person's share. Thank you so much.